Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 23rd, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good on my favorite day of the week. If you're listening to this, sorry, I know I'm getting it to you maybe a little bit late. I'm recording this before 12 o'clock, so technically that date is correct, but you'll probably be seeing this, on the next day. So I guess in a way this is one of my little part one, part twos, but who cares? Technically it doesn't exist on Isaiah's Newsstand. Don't worry about that. But man, y'all, I had a great day. I had an amazing little day. We switched it up a little bit. I guess I'm switching it up a little bit tomorrow. I know I kind of told you guys I was done with the calling off. I decided one last ride for baby. So yeah, we're gonna be off tomorrow. It's gonna be an off day. We'll get into that tomorrow. But let's talk about today. Today was great. I worked and had a really good time. Had an impromptu little meetup, and that was cool. That was really cute. I got to go to a new park. Well, I don't want to say a new park, but new park to me. It was called Summit Park. I gotta say, very beautiful park. It was nice to walk around and see all the cute dogs, and it was real nice. A couple little eatery places that I'm gonna get into for the food corner. I went to a restaurant in the park, which I was like, oh, that's cool, that's swanky, called Senate. And let's start there. And this, I have to say, there's some good and bad here. Let's start with the good. I'll give you the good news. The oysters, amazing. I realized I hadn't had oysters in so long, and they got ordered for the table. And I was like, yeah, let's go for that. I don't really know what's good here. I haven't had an oyster in so long. Why not? Let's shuck it up. Do you shuck oysters? I think you shuck oysters. Maybe that's only clams. I don't know. I'm not a seaman. I'm not a seafaring man. Anyway, I gobbled a few of those up. That was good. That was the good part. Now, let me get to you the bad part about Senate. Let's talk about some bad food, politics, whatever. I don't know. I had, for my main course, because I was kind of just a little bit of a peckish mode, I had what they called my wife's salad. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Crazy with those names, Ted. Fine, just put it on the plate, give it to me. And it was like this balsamic, I don't know the exact lettuce that was given to me, but it was nice and green. That wasn't the problem. But the combination of the balsamic, the cheese, it just, I don't know, it wound up, and there was tomato too. Like, overall, it was a nice and simple salad. It just didn't hit for me. And I like balsamic, but I just didn't like what was going on that plate. And, so that was kind of the bad part. Also, I got to try the gyro that they had, and it was kind of, I say kind of, it was pretty dry. And, that's crazy when you have, tzatziki sauce, and even that's not enough to, wet it up. You know what I mean? The fries in the gyro were dry. That was a little bit of a letdown, right? But then, there was a couple little bar spots and things like that in the area, and I was like, this place is so nice and swanky. I really dig it. And I got to relive some childlike wonder and get on a swing. So there we go. A little bit of an anecdote tangent in my little opener here. I think I said this before on the pod. I've never climbed a tree, but that being said, I have. I've slid down a pole. That's how I got a dent in my forehead. And then I've obviously, been on a swing set, of course. So it was nice to kind of get back to doing the old pump and swing and, getting that childlike wonder going. But yeah, overall, I had a really good day, really good night. Really stoked to have another Friday off. So that was good. I'm saying all this, of course, to just let you know what's been happening to me, and to also preface that, hey, this episode's probably going to be super sloppy. I'm probably going to miss more things than usual, so feel free to, I guess, give me grief for that. I hope you don't, but, hopefully you understand and know why I always list a source. If you really want to read it and catch up and get the full fucking bore of what's going on, it's always there for you. But anyway, let's do our startup. Let's have some fun, as much fun as you can with crazy news where, people are living and dying every day. And then, we'll call it a night. How about that? I'm podcasting as a nightcap. I love that for me. Also, follow up, we did go to a Waffle House, and they were only doing to go orders, which I thought was interesting. But hey, we're living in a post COVID world, brother. I didn't get anything there. I just got a water for hydration's sake. But there was a chocolate chip waffle on the table, so there's that. All right, that wasn't water. Let's go ahead and get into it. From CNN, 9 dead, 121 injured as wind causes stage collapse at Mexico election rally. 9 people were killed and a presidential candidate was briefly taken to hospital after a stage collapsed under heavy winds at a campaign rally in Mexico on Wednesday. Candidate Jorge Alvarez Maynez said he was not injured in the incident, which happened during his campaign event in the northeastern city of San Pedro Garza Garcia. The governor of Mexico's Nuevo Leon state said at least 121 people were injured and has offered to pay for funeral and hospital costs for the victims. Among the dead is one minor. Governor Samuel Garcia Sepulveda said in a post on X, adding that some of the injured are stable while others are undergoing surgery. What we experienced happened in just a few seconds. A gale came, a sudden wind, and unfortunately it collapsed the stage, resulting in a fatal accident. I believe one of the candidates was on stage, kind of waving at everybody, and then literally in the next second, this just big gust of wind comes, and then I think scaffolding or scaffolding, parts of the literal venue are falling down on the stage and shit, and he just hits the brick, starts running. So that's obviously very scary. It's very sad that not only did this happen and people were injured, but also that there's a loss of life. 9 people. It's very unfortunate. Obviously, this is just supposed to be a situation where people are coming together to literally just get excited for hey, hopefully there's going to be a new change, and there's going to be something coming from this, some good, and then you get that. So that's definitely not what you want to see in an election situation, just period. But speaking on the elections, I think that they are planning on having elections June the 2nd. I don't think this is going to be changing or forestalling anything. But sadly, it's not just, natural disasters or happenings. There's a lot of just overall political violence and assassinations that are going on in Mexico, which is obviously very scary, very unfortunate. And there's a whole lot of shit that we could get into, but I really just kind of wanted to stick to the event and, just give my condolences there, flowers there. But from one election to the other, I think we can just go ahead and just hop on to the next thing. From The Guardian, Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer kick off election campaigns. So this was a pleasant surprise. I feel like I was gifted as a political little commentator guy. Hey, early election? Let's fucking go. And this is a big one. This is, to me, and maybe I shouldn't say this. This is maybe a bad bias or whatever. All these elections matter. Every country is going to, have a leader in power. That leader's going to do shit, right? But at the end of the day, let's fucking face it. Something like the UK, the US, these are elections that are, going to get a lot of eyes on it. It's going to get a lot of attention. So yeah, I was pretty surprised that it's so we're going to be doing this shit on the 4th of July? The 4th of July? And before we get into this, as an American, I'm a little offended. Okay, I got to say my fucking shit here. Because how y'all trying to steal our thunder? All right, look, I've said it before. America ain't shit. Okay, fine. All right, I'll be the first to fucking say it. But God damn it, are you really trying to ball on our holiday? That's crazy. You could have moved that to another time. You could have done that July 5th, July 3rd. Yeah, another August, whatever. But fine, whatever. I'm just happy that you guys are having it. But let's actually get into it. I'm sorry. Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer have kicked off their election campaigns on Thursday, 6 weeks before the country goes to the polls. The Prime Minister toured broadcast studios before embarking on a 2-day whistle-stop trip, taking in all 4 nations of the UK. Starmer spoke at a campaign event in Gillingham, Kent, and a sign that he wants to make inroads to in Tory heartlands. Also, I gotta say here, whenever I get the chance, fuck the Tories. I fucking hate the Tories. I cannot believe that these dudes have been in power for 14 fucking years. And like this is really the best that they can do. Like I think it's kind of laughable that this is like his gambit, Rishi Sunak. Essentially he came out, he was literally getting fucking rained on, saying like, "Hey, I mean, this is like it. Like we're doing the best we can for the economy, even though the economy is in the pits for the UK. We've probably touched on that at least a little bit briefly. And we all know it's pretty much rough all over when it comes to the economy for all the countries. So, I mean, they've been struggling, but I think for him, he's kind of saying, hey, this is the best it's looked, in quotations. And I think right now they are looking at a potential 20% like loss in terms of like how bad they're trailing in terms of like the polls, which is not good. Obviously, I think it's definitely one of those things for the Tories, which are obviously the conservative equivalent in the UK, that they're like, this is bad. Don't like, why are we pulling the trigger on an election? Like, we should just keep limping forward. But I think for Rishi Sunak, he knows that, like, look, man, I just pitched this Rwanda plan, and I know it's fucking crazy bollocks, but, like, it's the best thing. It's the best thing that we can come up with as a group. And we can't sell these motherfuckers on anything else. And literally our campaign slogan, I mean, it's not literally, I'm paraphrasing it more or less, but what they're selling is, we're the devil you know. Like, why would you want to throw away over a decade's worth of what you've been going through, which is complete horseshit and not working? Maybe, like, why would you want to go back to square one, which you still don't have any kind of footing and grounding? And you know what? I'll give the Tories some ground here, because I used to have this kind of warm, fuzzy, almost like tourist likeness, like optimism when it came to the New Labour Party. I thought these motherfuckers were just a better version of liberals somehow. I don't know. I thought maybe with their European sensibilities, they were just somehow better. But I soon found that I was very wrong in that stupid assumption. You know what I mean? Like, no, this is politics as usual. It's just in a different place across the goddamn pond. They move just like us. It's so sad. And I think a really glaring thing when it came to the New Labour Party and like how I really like felt about them is just some of their takes on Gaza, especially early on. It's like they were very much in lockstep with the Tories. There wasn't much difference. Like they were condemning the same thing, saying like, hey, you can't support Hamas, all this fucking bullshit. Like while literally people are fucking dying, getting blown up, getting shot up. Like, come on, dude. Like, so yeah, I mean, there's other examples as well. But I mean, truly, I don't think that this is good for the Tories. I think that this is maybe the best that they can hope for. And I think maybe for Rishi Sunak, it gives him a chance to save face as a prime minister who took over after Liz Truss, someone that they were literally saying, I think this head of cabbage is going to last longer than her term. He just needed to beat that, and he beat that, and I think now he's just trying to save face politically for a future potential campaign, or just overall in general, like saying, hey man, I did the best I could. We had a 20-point lag. I shortened that. I think that's really what he's shooting for here, because they literally just look like losers. I think he was like, what, in front of, I don't know, he did some speech. I assume it's in front of like, what is it, 9 House, whatever the fuck it is, on Downing Street, whatever the fuck they do all their political ass bullshit. But he had his little speech, and he was literally getting rained on. I don't know why they didn't like put a little tarp or a little like umbrella for him, but he was just getting just soaked, saying like, hey, we're gonna make this happen. We're doing this election, yada, yada, yada. And then people in the background were like clowning his ass with this song. Things Can Only Get Better. Essentially, this was like some song that I'll just read it from here. The song was, and this is from The Independent. I'm sorry, we're kind of just hopping along. The song was "Things Can Only Get Better" by a Northern Irish band, D Ream, known to many from former Labour leader Tony Blair's 1996 general election campaign, which soundtracked his road to victory in the May 1st, 1997 contest. So it's very funny to get clowned in like, hey, we're throwing down the gauntlet, we're doing the election, and people are playing like the other team's fucking song while you're trying to talk. And if you get a chance to like look it up, like to listen to little Rishi Sunak's little speech, it's just very like odd to like just hear this song playing in the background. He's just trying to do his Kanye best, get through this fucking shit, and it's just a mess. It's just a complete mess to kick off your goddamn campaign to try to keep the House as the incumbent. But something I wanted to kind of close out on here too, while I'm excited for this and I think it's very interesting, it's just fun to also like draw the parallels here while we're going through this. Like obviously, like Rishi Sunak, boo, fuck him. But I'm also looking at Joe Biden, who is a Democrat, technically someone completely across the aisle, politically. He's in the same goddamn boat, dude. And it's like, dude, no one likes you because you fucking suck. You're a loser in a losing fucking shitty ass party. And the best thing you can say is like, yeah, this other guy sucks. Like that's the only argument you can make here. And you also have to look at an economy and essentially Joe Biden saying, yeah, man, I'm slaying junk fees. Like the economy's so good on paper. Like, don't worry about what it feels like in the grocery store. Don't worry about your rent going up. Like, it's the economy's so good. We're so good. And, like, no one's buying that shit. Like, it is a close ass fucking race. Like, and in some polls, he's losing. Granted, not by 20%, but he's not looking great. It's very scary. He's out here at Moorhead trying to, once again, get that black vote. He's doing all kinds of shit. Like I said, slaying junk fees. He's trying to fucking, what is it? Cancels the student debt. We've talked about that. The weed shit. He's just doing all this kind of minor shit. But still, Gaza. Oh, so hard. Gotta stand with Israel. It's complicated. Sorry, I know. I'm getting in the weeds here, and we have more European shit to actually talk about. So let's go ahead and move on. We gotta talk about some French shit. From the Associated Press. French President Macron says he won't rush through voting reforms that triggered New Caledonia riots. Something I wanted to add here just a little bit. I actually have just been trying to quick learn about New Caledonia. I didn't know I needed to know. Learning a lot on the fly here. But I will say I listened to a podcast and I love to bump them. Chewing On. I don't think it was a paywall episode, though I don't pay attention to which one is and which one isn't. But they actually do a little bit of a rundown in this. It gets kind of caught up because of some Azerbaijan stuff, which is another country, and other issues that we've talked about a little bit. Got a toehold in there. But yeah, let's talk about this at hand. I know I'm kind of doing a lot of fill here. I'm sorry. French President Emmanuel Macron said Thursday on a visit to riot-hit New Caledonia that he won't force through the contested voting reform that sparked the French Pacific Territory's deadly unrest, saying he wants local leaders to come up with an alternative agreement for the archipelago's future. I think I said that right. Speaking after a day of meetings with leaders on both sides of New Caledonia's bitter divide between indigenous Kanaks who want independence and pro-Paris leaders who do not, Macron laid out a roadmap that he said could lead to another referendum for the territory. 3 earlier referendums between 2018 and 2021 produced no votes against independence. He said another could be on a new political deal for the archipelago. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong and I'm going to get cooked. That he hopes local leaders will agree on in coming weeks and months after protesters' barricades are dismantled, allowing for a state of emergency to be lifted and for peace to return. Let's see. The unrest began early last week in response to legislation in French Parliament that Canucks, I know I'm saying that wrong too, but I also don't want to say Canucks because that's a whole other fucking thing. So Canucks fear will dilute their influence by allowing some mere recent arrivals in the archipelago to vote in local elections. Both French houses of parliament in Paris have already approved the overhaul. The next step was to have been a special congress to both houses meeting in Versailles to implement it by amending France's constitution. That had been expected by the end of June, but Macron's comment in the New Caledonian capital of Nouméa suggested he is now willing to change track and buy more time for an alternative deal, perhaps more palatable to pro-independence leaders who fear the electoral change will marginalize Kanak votes. And this is something I wanted to say because it's important to kind of add the QAnon part, because they mentioned this to me, and I'm like, oh shit, I see why this is important. Because there was a plan implemented in the past. This was something that was talked about and brought up. It was pretty bold-faced at the time. And I think they kind of walked it back and they're trying to loop it back around where essentially they say, hey, how do we change this dynamic? How do we fix this ratio because there's too much of these indigenous people here, and we want to we own this land. It's our land. Like, we want it. How do we disrupt this? And essentially the plan was what's happening now, which is essentially just say, hey, let's dilute their votes. Essentially, the way it's set up now, it might sound like fucked up and not democratic to some people on paper, but it's like, no, this is our land. We have our leaders. Our leaders are going to be elected. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, it doesn't matter what the number is. Like, we know we have the majorities. That this is our land. This is just weird for you to come here and try to impose anything other than this. But essentially, they're like, okay, that's fine. That's cool. But let's try to do this. Like, let's try to make this work. And this is, I can completely understand, one, just flat out fucking point blank period. I wouldn't want to be under French rule. Fuck that shit. I don't want to be your fucking soft ass semi-colony, you bitch. Let me go. So there's that. And then two, yeah, of course, we definitely don't want you to try to like do the complete inverse of what we want and then try to dilute us and split us up and like take power in our land. I can completely fucking understand that. But I guess just the French are like, it's not your land. It's kind of like our land. It's everybody's land. You're here, even though you've always been here. Like, it just feels weird. And once again, I'm just walking into this shit with my dumbass fucking brain and whatever. I'm a stupid guy. I can only throw my 2 cents and say how I feel, whatever. But this was definitely something where it's just like, ew, fuck Macron. I hate him. I think it's so funny that he's just been such a fucking lame duck. Like, the only thing he's been able to do is just force in like bullshit ass policies that no one fucking likes, that people were literally rioting in the streets about. And he's like, I don't care. I'm fine. Like, it is what it is. I did it. I love big business. I'm going to keep fucking sucking their dicks. I don't care. And now it's this, and he's got to make sure that this shit works out for the goddamn Paris Olympics and all these riots and all these barricades. It's really fucking harshing the vibe and it's scaring the hoes, and he doesn't like it. So that's really why he's here. That's really why he's fucking trying to make things work. And, you know, just doing a fucking terrible job. So I wanted to at least, you know, talk about that, you know, yap a little bit. I feel like we summarized it as best I could. Let's go ahead and hit the next bump. Oh, I wanted to once again kind of explain I'm not really going to explain it well, but just something I wanted to hit on. Why Azerbaijan's flag is flying amid New Caledonian unrest. We could get into all that, but essentially I just wanted to say that, like, somehow, some way, Azerbaijan is involved in this, and I'm just not in the right capacity, nor do we have the real time to get into that. But just know that there's a thread there if you want to pull it and get a little conspiratorial, or not even so much. You just follow the fucking shit. It's just there for you. Anyway, hopefully I'm not sounding too fucking wacko jacko here. Anyway, let's get back on rails. Let's get back on terra firma. I'm going to actually hydrate. I'm going to take my last break, and then we're going to talk tickets. It's a bit of an update, bit of monopoly talk, antitrust talk. Whew, I love that. So yeah, let me take my little bit. Ooh wee. Had to wet my whistle. Ooh. All right. From ABC News. Justice Department seeks breakup of Live Nation Ticketmaster through major antitrust suit. All right. So yeah, I mean, the last time we talked about Live Nation Ticketmaster was the Taylor Swift fiasco. And we can say that was kind of like a bit of a kickoff point for what we're talking about now. I feel like the Justice Department and dozens of state attorneys, I hate saying plural attorneys general. Why do we do that? Why, language? Why? Why would you make me do this? Say it this way. The attorneys generals, I hate it, filed a major antitrust lawsuit Thursday seeking the breakup of Ticketmaster owner Live Nation Entertainment over what they allege is the company's unlawful dominance over the concert ticket sales industry. If you're really horny for like antitrust talk, monopoly talk, something I listened to today that was unrelated to this, I've been listening to Odd Lots. And I know I'm just plugging podcasts tonight. I'm just, I'm letting them do the heavy lifting. But they did a lot of talk about antitrust. I mean, and this is like a long podcast. It's a bit if you really want to, hunker down and get the wheat talk. But essentially they broke down like what antitrust is. They use a good example of like publishing houses, which is another thing I've kind of been like skimming through, learning a bit. And it's crazy how hard it can be as an author to kind of make sure that you're getting your bread. Because I mean, essentially, if you're not a well-known fucking guy, it's really hard to make a way. And then not to mention, you only have about 5 publishing houses. And there was a time, like I think this was sometime maybe last year or something, where they were going to do a merger of 2 of these big houses. And essentially it got blocked by the DOJ, I believe. And for the reasons of, it's like, if you guys merge, you are limiting the options for these authors. Like it's now going to like substantially cut their money. And these are like people who are like top earning authors. So imagine for like the lower people, it's going to make it even harder. So kind of shifting that kind of talk to Ticketmaster and Live Nation, I personally believe what they're doing is very monopolistic. I think that is what they're going for, and they're trying to say, no. We're providing a really great, affordable service. We're actually giving modest rates. We could be so much worse. And like everything is fine, everything is hunky dory. You guys are just mad about the Taylor Swift shit. I feel like they really just want to sweep the shit and move on and say that they're not really the problem. But the lawsuit filed by the DOJ and 30 state and district attorneys general in federal court in the Southern District of New York accuses the company of creating a monopoly over the live entertainment market that has harmed music fans, artists, and promoters around the United States through higher prices and frustrating consumer experiences. And I think something that really started solidifying this thought for me was like the idea that like even sometimes when you go to like more cozy, what you would think are like local like live venues, like, hey, this is like my local bar, they have like a nice cool stage and like it's cool to come here, and like, there's definitely enough for a general audience. You can hang out at the bar, listen to some nice music, it's a good time. It turns out that like even Live Nation has their fingers in that pie. And like, if you want to go, you might have to pay an exorbitant ass fucking price for this little fucking cramped ass thing that's now going to be shoved. Like, and then it starts to like click and dawn on you. It's like, oh my God, probably this artist here should have never been here. And this is why they're here. Like, and it just makes things so much messier. And like, it almost can suck the fun out of it. And I know that like, once again, we're kind of going back to Taylor Swift and how like people were so mad and so upset that like they were supposed to be getting these VIP ticket experience where they get a chance to buy these tickets, and like this is why I'm paying for this fucking membership access, and like I'm literally not getting it. And I think for Ticketmaster saying, hey, that's not our fault, dude. Like, that's on the scalpers. That's on the resellers. Like, we have nothing to really do about that. Like, even though we said we're giving you a premium experience that, like, should be making this so that, like, those people can't even get involved here. You're supposed to have, like, really exclusive access. This isn't our fault, okay? This is, like, other people. These are the bad guys. We're the good guys, okay? And I mean, I'm glad that at least, the DOJ is saying, no, we don't believe that. We want to see you guys broken up. I would personally like to see that because I'm not rooting for Live Nation. I'm not rooting for Ticketmaster. I think that they are trying too hard to try to milk us as consumers. You know what I mean? I think going to a show is a very fun, great experience. And it's a shame that there's just no escape these days from having to spend an expensive ass fucking price for essentially just being able to go out to a place and see a band, see an artist you like. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that these people shouldn't get their bread. I definitely understand that, like, hey, inflation is a bitch. It's tough out. I've said it at the top. I'll say it again. It's tough out here. Like, it's brutal for these artists that I know they want to make their fucking money, and like, going on tour is not a free experience for them. Duh, I fucking get it. But at the end of the day, the Live Nation is getting their cut. They are getting their pound of flesh. And like, they're essentially crying because it's like, you guys are trying to break this up and make it so that we don't get as much money. It's like, you guys are going to live, okay? You guys are going to be fucking fine. So, yeah, I'm hoping that they lose. I'm throwing tomatoes at them. I'm hoping they lose. I'm not rooting for Ticketmaster or Live Nation, though. I'm not going to say I'm rooting for the DOJ. That's icky. That's gross. That's icky Vicky behavior. So we'll leave it there. I barely touched this article. I do not care. I feel like I summarized it enough, and I said what I said, and I'll leave it at that. I'll stand on that. I really had a great day, y'all. I really had a great time talking to you guys and gals and MBs. I know I ran a little bit long, but I have a smile on my face. I'm grinning like a goblin. So, if you would like to help out the effort, I know it's a slop shop, but hopefully you smiled and enjoyed yourself as well. Hopefully you're giggling like a goddamn geek. I would love that. And if you'd like to throw a little money on my tip jar, give me a little coffee money, become a newsie. There's a way to do that. You just throw a little bit on the bobby. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. You'd really be supporting the effort. You'd be a real pal. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Let's see. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. I'm out there. I'm loving every minute of it. You just hit that button, or you use those little Twitter fingers and say what's up. I'll probably respond. Why not? Let's see. Other ways to help out the effort. I have a YouTube if you're not already listening there. I know I really didn't get the sound quality up. Mea culpa for forever. I did what I could. Maybe one day when we hit it big, y'all, I'll have it down pat. But if you could hit that like button, if you could hit that subscribe button, you'd be a real pal, a total peach. If you're not on that, if you're listening on another thing, sharing is caring. Hit all the stars, whatever you fancy. But truly, I really appreciate you listening. It's just great to have you on the other end of the line, on this little one-way thing we're doing here, you and I. But yeah, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.